And here we are, everyone. Welcome along. I am here. Dev is here in shot. Just checking to make sure you can all hear us all nice.
Hello, everybody.
We've got the chat room up, so we're going to go have a lucky talk. We're just going to have a chuck and chat there.
Lovely boy. Listen, it is a sexy place that you got here. I think that one of the things as a dart player is always when you get invited to a place, you always worry that it's going to be a broom cupboard, it's going to be tight, people are enthusiastic, but yours is a proper setup. I can see a lot of things happening here.
It's decent, isn't it? It's nice.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think coaching, we can do loads here though, like really like loads. And I just think the throw is nice as well. So yes, I mean, with everything happening, it's great to chat. I always like chatting to you because I think that there's a lot of a respect element, and I also know that when you're asking questions to get clicks, I just don't answer them in the same way that you're going to get the clicks. So.
I'm always fun angry, you know that, you know how it works.
I've seen that, yeah, seen that. So how's things been with you though?
Yeah, I'm good, mate, good. Ooh, see, you'll see this now, because we've chatted about this a lot, but I have the itch, you'll see when I can't open my fingers quick enough.
Oh, right, okay, cool. So you meaning like a dartitis?
Yeah. So now I can throw again, and you'll see the one that comes out the side of the hand and where I can't open my, physically can't open my fingers.
Are you thinking about it or not?
100%.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, but we were walking around the other day and I sort of like changed my grip. And although the darts don't go how I like them, they actually come out the fingers alright. So that is me completely, I've always been a complete rear gripper.
Got you, yeah.
Chat room, how are you all doing? Josh is in, Sanjay says how are we doing, Bob is in, Rob says what's up peeps?
What's happening?
So yeah, so I always used to throw from pretty much there.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a rear gripper.
So, but there, we were walking around on Sunday and just I don't like stacking though, but
throw normal, let me check it out quickly.
But I open my fingers quicker when it's like that.
Yeah, because it's less grip.
Yeah.
I want to feel something. Stop there. So that's where you hold it, right? Okay, cool. Okay. So I'm going to hold the dart, release your hand, just relax your hand, relax it, there.
That one. That's the one with the fingers, I can feel that
and
finger.
comes the last. So
I can feel that finger on the dart.
Yeah, I think that where that comes in is that because you're thinking about it all the time, the last dart becomes the more tense.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of actively stop there and then go, let me make sure that it's relaxed. So stop here now, stop, now do it. There you go. You have to change the rhythm on the last.
Yeah. So chat room, Bob says how we doing, Marcus is in. Just fire any questions in, we can all see we're not going to chat just after. Your football teams are ripping it up in the track to win though.
You know what, right? It's the first time that as a Liverpool fan, you feel as though you are the priority. So for example, when we go in, it's almost like there's two guys going in for one girl, and
scores.
You know what I mean? Turn up, she's gonna go, I love him. I can see life with him, but I love him, and that's what Liverpool has created now. And I think where Arne Slot is now, I don't think that there's been a manager in his position before, because Klopp left it in a real good space. He came through and just sharpened up a lot of the things. Even though Klopp did it, I don't know how much of an impact. But I think that players there was a freshness about the Liverpool team. We worked out our wins, and yeah, I think now with Trent going, you don't really. I mean, you won't miss him because I think that you'll miss the quality of the crosses and all of those things. But the players that we got in, phenomenal. I know expensive as well, but yeah.
So yeah, you did what Manchester United didn't, where Fergie left David Moyes with an absolute shit show. Where Klopp came in and left Arne Slot with a great side.
Correct, yeah. And I think saying what you are saying right now, Fergie still won with that team though. So it's not complete horrible. It's not like he left the team.
But he knew it needed a complete reset.
100%. And I think since then there's been no reset. So a living legend, Alex Ferguson, leaves Man United so that he looks great now as a manager because you know what I mean, there's been no succession plan. And then when you talk about Liverpool, you can't go, I mean at this point in time there is sadness around the club as well with Diego Jota and his brother Andrea. You know when that happened, right, there was a tear that came down and you realize that is how quick life can kind of pass you by. Like I leave you when you leave the house and you kiss your kids goodbye, kiss your wife.
You never know what's around the corner.
100%. So when that happened, you see now that I always say that funerals aren't about the person really. It's more about you because you quickly understand that it's reality sets in that you're immortal, and that is why you cry with sadness. And when you leave there, you kind of find yourself in a certain way because we're surrounded by death all the time. So yeah, it's RIP to Liverpool number 20 legend.
To be fair, you asked it there. Would you keep Canate?
Go on.
Would you keep Canate or would you sell him?
I think the one thing that Liverpool has now is because we have options. So we're not scared of spending money, which we've seen.
Yeah.
We also are attractive to many others. So if he was to go, yeah, he can go. I don't think that. I think that there's a lot of. He's not a niche player. He's a
centre half.
Correct. Yeah, it's not a creative midfielder that you can't actually replace. So you'd certainly. But if he stayed, I mean. It means that it's better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't.
Yeah.
And I think with him being there would be great because it just means that we can solidify that. Virgil is getting older, and he's still like a Rolls Royce in it, so you just know he's going to be classic forever. So yeah, I'd definitely keep him.
How you doing? It's good to have you in. You lot are absolutely crushed. Another sport that you love, cricket.
Oh.
Fan of baseball or not a fan of baseball in that test environment?
I'm not. I think it's a different one though, you know, because when you look at players and quality and all of those things, there's a whole host of things that come with it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of external factors that play. Pitch. You're looking at the way in which the ball's almost the damage to the ball, so obviously playability of the ball, and you look at it's just a whole mix, and cricket is one that I very rarely judge, because South Africa, I mean, even though we won right now, you look at the many times we got to a final and choked. Is it that we choked, or was the other team just good, or did we lose opportunities? So cricket's a one for me that it's pretty much like darts. It's on the day. If the sun's shining on your team, it basically goes your way. So that's kind of where I sit with cricket. So does that give you an insight? No.
But do you like baseball?
No. Not at all. Not at all.
I must admit, I did like the English and the Indians going at it.
Yeah.
As in, you're out of order, no, you're out of order. I like it. Because, again, cricket at times, it's like darts, it's too nice. I want a bit of needle.
I think a lot of the sport these days is all about, because back in the day it was hard-working men becoming professionals and still having that main kind of aspect to it. Now we have, you kind of, not born, but you're born into academy-style kind of setups where they teach you how to be a professional.
Yeah.
Same with darts. Back in the day, Eric Bristow, it was pub players that got elevated to a platform, and then you're going. That's why Eric Bristow was the way he was with Bobby George and Jockey Wilson and all of them. And now you got Luke and Luke shaking hands every time you throw 180 on the stage, which is not a bad thing, but it does take away the needle. And talking about needle, it brings you to the World Cup. And when you talk about World Cup and what's happened, that's exactly where I was. Like I'm still wanting to win everything, and especially when people call you out for being disrespectful and cheat and all of that stuff. That's where I get the hump, and then I go, okay, cool. If that's how we're gonna play, then that's
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, the cricket, I love it, and that's the series is actually set up superbly. Now heading towards Old Trafford, and I thought we missed the trick when we lost the second test when Boomer didn't play. I was like, they've beaten us out of the best bowler in the world. But they actually bounced back really well.
Yeah, I think for England, I think that's always going to be a sport that you guys can really call your own for, I don't know, especially in the way in which you play them. It's a very, I'm not even going to say sophisticated way, but I think that the identity is almost changing very much to the letter of cricket.
You found 100?
What do you mean?
Out of the tournament, 100.
I've never watched it.
Have you not watched it?
No.
It's like 4 or 5 years old. Have you not got?
I don't watch a lot of TV, I do a lot of work, mate. Is that where they have like the T20 with all the almost like live style?
No, so it's basically franchise cricket in the UK where it's literally 100 balls.
That's why I don't watch it, because cricket in the UK is just...
To be fair, I do like the Big Bash. The Big Bash is my favourite.
Good.
A lot of people say the IPL, but I'm a fan of the Big Bash.
Yeah, I think when the T20 style is obviously progressing the game, and I think do you think that we'd ever see a T20 style vibe in darts? Like
I want it. I want one leg, 1,001 shootout games.
I want something a bit more quick and turn it on. Like, you know when they play...
That's the 3 Bosch, 2-0.
No, not 501, they play 301.
Yeah? I don't dislike it.
Yeah, I think that a 301 would be solid because going away first, you throw 140, 161, you could go out in 6. But if you don't do that, then...
It is brutal, 101. Is that too brutal?
Yeah, I think you have to give both players an opportunity at least. Because if I throw 180 and you throw 140, I still have to check at the 180 and you'll still have an opportunity. 101, I could start and you just go, nah, there's no chance, mate. No chance.
Rob says boycott 100. Bob says, Devon, you're a rugby fan?
Goes without saying, mate. Goes without saying. Green and gold forever.
Legal union.
League is, let's just say this, right? No, stop. Chat, let's just say. Anybody asks again about if you're a rugby fan, number one, league or union. League is not rugby at all. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not rugby. It's grown men grabbing your shirt, feeling the quality, humping you on the floor, and that's it. 6 times, and that's it.
But you live in the north of the UK.
I come from South Africa. We only play like 7 times.
I know you've been converted because rugby league's huge around the
Rugby is horrible. Rugby. I've gone with Joe Cullen, right, and we've watched. I think it's Wigan. Because he's a big Wigan fan, right?
But lives in Bradford.
Same as Man United. You know what I mean? Lives in Bradford, but Man United. But yeah, regardless. The first time I went to go watch a game, I was like, it's more like NFL, but it's just that you don't have NFL kind of lines on the ground. You don't have the helmets, so it's a rugby styled NFL, which is not really rugby though, because it's not played. I think it's played predominantly New Zealand, Australia, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we went to go watch the Rabbitohs once as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, league is definitely not rugby. When we talking rugby, you're talking proper, and that's where we dominate South Africa as world number ones. You know what I mean?
So obviously, first test Lions down under this weekend.
Yeah.
Can you get behind the Lions theory or not? Are you not a fan of?
Horrible. It's again another silly combination that England or
the British Irish Lions.
Correct, because why would you put a group of men together that don't play internationally? They maybe play. It's literally glorified club rugby, and you're calling it the other Lions because it means nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
Who do you actually? So Scottish hate the English. The Irish hate the English.
Welsh hate the English.
You know, so
there's a thing.
Yeah, and then you go, okay, cool, we're gonna put everybody together and call it one team. But everybody hates each other. It doesn't make sense. It's like a Southern Hemisphere team for South Africa or Southern Africa. So you got Botswana, Namibia, Lesotho, Malawi, you got Mozambique in there as well. So you got those teams and you're making a team. It just doesn't make sense. And you can't even compete anyway. So.
See, the Southern Hemisphere Lions wouldn't work if you put South Africa,
No.
Australia and New Zealand together.
That is not even a team. That is literally rugby. It's the best of the best. I don't even think they'll do well because you have so many different styles. You have a lot of things. I think it's the same like the Barbarians event that we have, right? Which is an invited, and I know it's an exhibition game. It's something similar to that, and that's how I see the Lions.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. James says, do you think the Decade deserved his World Series club?
100%. If you're winning a wager, you should be exhibition by the PDC. And I think that him not doing more after the major is, and this is the scary part, right? In the sport of darts, when you win a major, generally in the past, depending on who you are, you get automatic inclusion.
Like I said, depends who you are.
Yeah. You get the automatic inclusion into the PDC Premier League, which is the biggest touring dart show in the world, right? If you're a player outside of that pool of players, right, you have to do stuff that adds on to your, almost to validate your reason for inclusion. When you have a player that's constantly playing on that, like they spoke about Nathan Aspinall, and then he performs the way he does, you can't really kind of go, there's no criteria because it's invite only, regardless where they say the top 4 get in. The top 4 is always going to get in because that's what draws the crowds. Yeah. The other 6 players are invited players that adds to that chemistry. And I think that as much as the Deca won, I think that he done too little to validate the fact he's playing well, but he done too little. And the big thing about the Premier League is even though players don't understand, it doesn't actually hold any ranking or money that goes on the ranking. Players still feel like that is our Olympics, if you must call it that. If you get chosen for the Premier League, that is a big, almost stamp of approval that you've made it in the sport. By knowing that it means nothing to nobody else after it. And that's the thing. And I think that it knocked him a bit. It knocked him a bit down and knocked his confidence because he was playing really well at the time. It looked like he was going to do a lot of things and then kind of stopped after the win. And that's also something else though, like you look at players that are multiple winners of events, right, and back to back and all of these things, and you realize very quickly that the amount of skill it takes to actually win titles continuously, there's a mindset that comes to it. When you get a road winner, right, so think of the one-off winners that happened before. When you see those one-off winners, like I think Jermaine Watsamina,
Ross Smith, Andrew Gilding.
Yeah. Generally, after the one-off win, they do have deep rounds because they understand, but they don't really quickly win again. So they get this one-off. It's the ones that are consistently winning, which know that feeling. Those are the ones that break through. But it's great. I mean, you see those, and I think it was last year, or the year before, where Richie Edhouse also won in that pool of different players coming through. It's phenomenal to see different winners, and everybody wants to see different winners, but you understand that they're never going to be serial winners. So until they make the next step, which is after that, how do you perform after you won? Because
you have to win again.
Correct, because you're always wanting to win on the PDC tour. And when you do win, now what? How do I win again? And it's more or less the same recipe that you have to apply, but it's with a different effect that is. Yeah, and I think that's why you see the one-off winners winning once, and I'm not going to say never win again, but find it hard to repeat that feat. So it's almost like you hit the ceiling, and now you have to break through that glass ceiling, which that only Farland can do.
Smashes the glass ceiling.
Exactly. Iconic.
Have you got a favourite commentary line ever? Well, there you go. That's the one.
I think the easiest one for me is the both on lines. That for me was, and I can't speak.
That
was epic. And just for it to follow through, it's as if it was scripted. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy.
One of mine is, God rest him, John Green. Blackpool in July, London in December.
John Goodman was absolutely crazy as well.
How are we doing? Weekly Darts Cast is in. Pete from LP Metal Detected is in as well.
The Al Out Baby, what is that? How does ever like the Kondo Axe? Yes. Kondo Axe 120 Nanos, right? So the difference is it's not your normal Kondo Axe, it's the 120 Nano. They travel direct, they travel straight, they travel beautiful. I think that this is by far the best flight on the market. Hands down. Nobody can beat this flight. So just the quickness through the air control.
The OG flight. Forget your oldest.
The OG flight, exactly what they say, they've overdosed. Yeah, so Kondo Axe 120 Nano, I think it's coming out soon. It's amazing. I think that just the control that it offers, the direct, just the straight throw and everything else, just phenomenal. I think that equipment is a crazy thing though. I mean, back in the day, exactly like you were saying, the OD flights, remember when they just used to change color of flight and the stem used to change color, people used to lose their mind.
Yeah.
Now you got Kondo Axe, you got the new flight from Winmau as well.
Winmau Fusion, Flex.
Yeah, so everybody's now gone onto the molded flight. I remember when I played with a molded flight, right? Josie D'Souza was the one that actually introed me to the molded flight, because at the time I was changing.
Yeah.
So he was playing with it, and Kondo wasn't one of the top players in that space. I think it was Fit Flight or
L-Style as well.
L-Style was one of the big ones, yeah. And then when I started practicing with him, I'm like, this has changed my scoring potential. Since then, obviously the molded flight has come a long way since 2020. Now everybody's on the molded flight, right? Do you know that the amount of 180s that Ross Smith, Chizzy, Simon Whitlock started throwing on tour is since they moved over to the Fit Flight. I mean to the all-in-ones, and they still use it today.
But they also have more darts on the floor, so it's a trade-off. Because with them, if you hit that, 9 times out of 10 your dart is still going to end up in the board somewhere. It deflects, but it goes into the 5 or whatever. Since Chizzy switched, he's had more darts on the floor than I've ever seen in my life. Because there's no give. If you hit that,
he does go with snatch dart though, so the power is lacking on it. But he's been a demon on the 180s.
But
Nathan Aspinall?
Yeah, Aspinall switched. But
Johnny Clayton?
He tinkers though, he does go back every now and then.
Joe Cullen?
However, in my opinion, the best player in the world at the moment. Well, no, sorry. Two of the top 3 in the world right now.
Don't play with them.
Don't play with them. Luke Humphries and Gary Anderson.
Cool. And is that because Kondo has an extra long flight system right now? I think that if Luke Humphries plays with that, he plays even better than he is playing right now.
Possibly, but obviously, manufacturers, he's not going to do that, is he?
Well, he can.
And the other one, Gary won't switch.
Yeah, Gary's old school. Gary's like, I need the specifics, and that's with dark plays as well.
Mind you, he did change the one point at the weekend, did you see him?
I didn't see
He changed the one point.
He did change his dark paddle as well to this Paulus.
So he still got that, but he went from his point with the grip there to I think it was a 42mm point, and he was grouping him with a polo in. Ridiculous.
I think with Luke Littler and dark players catch on like that. Like when somebody else experiments, they won't do it themselves. So there will be a group of players that stay on their own side, right? And then you'll have this rogue. So I was one of those players that rogue. So if it works, great. People will start to catch on. But Luke Littler was smashing so much with his long points. Everybody had to kind of change to it. You saw Peter Wright try and change to it. It doesn't always work for everybody, but I mean, like Gary now playing around with it. So you must know that he's on a level right now.
Who's that, Gary?
Yeah.
I think he goes to Blackpool, a huge danger.
I think Gary's always a danger at Blackpool. Blackpool is, I found it, right? So I played once at Blackpool. And the way in which, or how it's set up, it's so close to the stage, it feels almost exhibition-like. And Gary Anderson in an exhibition is next level. And I've seen Gary when he played against Joe Cullen and he threw that 9 darter, right? Joe still played phenomenally well, even though Gary won that event and he beat in the finals, yeah. But I mean, just the way in which Joe Cullen also played, it all bases on the setting of the building itself. When you're actually sitting in there, everything is on top of you. It feels warm. It feels like Blackpool is hugging you at that moment. It's phenomenal, and I think that's the reason why it looks. The setting is the way it is. It's amazing.
I remember the year Gary won that 2018.
Yeah.
Again, he played his first round with his normal silver dart. His normal tungsten dart, and then that was when Wimble went unicorn. Noir for the first time.
Correct. Yeah.
And Matt Rankin went up there and went, Gary, no, gosh, we've made these, try them. And he played his round 2 game, he took him out of the box and went, oh, they're nice. And he played, and he didn't have the grip on his point there because Gary, that finger, and he pushes off. He liked them that much, he tried them. Massive gamble, because in that thing, he took him out of the box and went, I'll give him a go. And then round 3, he had his point in them, and he goes on and wins it.
And that's the crazy thing about dart players, though. I mean, there's things that you need to have. Like I've been designing and looking at different darts simply because I want to make sure that when I go to my next manufacturer, I want to own my own white paper. And the one thing that players don't actually do is own their white paper, the design. So if you design a dart and you come with it, it becomes your own. It's your own.
Yeah.
And when you go to another manufacturer, you should be able to leave with that design, because the one thing that happens is when players switch designs, switch manufacturers, it hinders their career.
To a point, but you
hang on.
No.
I'll stop you right there. When you say to a point, right, look at the players that's changed manufacturers. Not going to say the manufacturer's name, but if you look at who's changed and whether their career went up or down after that, then you tell me.
I get that. However, now we see that when people move,
like who? Give me one name or 2.
No, I'm going to give you examples here. So,
give me example,
when Michael first went to Wimbledon, he went for a radical change. Like, went for something that he didn't normally throw. Realised that they weren't going well. They made his exact dart. When you put the exact dart next to Old Faithfuls, you spot a difference because apart from at the top where it doesn't affect him, and he went on to win stuff with them. Phil Taylor is the prime example. When he went to Target, right, they blinked up everything, and Phil hated them. Didn't win. However, his last year, when he won the match play to the World Final, look at that barrel, it was as close to the Rosso, without being copyrighted, that you'll ever see, and he got to the match play, won the match play, got to the World Final.
But that's what I'm saying.
But that's what they're saying is, copyright is you look at it, change 2 grooves and it's different. Like, there's a way around it.
Never going to be, it's always going to be different. Because the billet that you will use, the machining that you will use is generally, some of the companies use the same companies, so you could get away with it. But yeah, what I'm saying is if you own your white paper.
I get that point to it, what I'm saying is.
Yeah. Because I know that everybody that has changed, as soon as you change, it becomes a challenge. And this is silly, right, for me to say this, but as soon as I changed from Unicorn to Trinidad, my dart, even though it was the same spec and everything, went lighter, right, the Trinidad dart.
Yeah.
And it was thinner as well. And then I threw even better. So in that instance, it was good. But I'm saying that because I had to change, now especially for players that are competing at the top level, if they're changing, it becomes really challenging.
I get it. But I just think that I don't think it's a bigger deal as long as they're made almost the same. Don't get me wrong, when it's a massive radical change, I get it.
Yeah.
But I look at the Phil Taylor, whatever generation they were in his last year, they were all bar exactly the same as the Rosso.
100%. What are they saying there, Auckland guys? Devon is the most handsome player out there. Dylan, what a man. You know what, right? I met Dylan at the World Cup. Yeah. But I've known him for years. He's one of those top tier players, right? And we're top tier fans and supporters, and just a top guy, as you would look at from Irish, just Irish, because he's Irish as well. So we sat there chatting away and all of those things, right? And you realize, like, in the sport of darts, it's literally one family.
Yeah.
Because you allow so many people to come into your life at that point, and whether they stay there or not, I mean, that's completely up to you. But you become so almost. And I think it might be different for different people, but for me, is as soon as there's a connection and there's a contact, you get a message down on socials, and I'll respond, and you can't respond all the time, but when you do respond, it's like, hey guys, how you doing, blah, 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 and then you start to kind of get into a conversation, and once you start to meet them, you're like, these are sound people, we're just the same, you know what I mean?
100%.
Let's see what else who's saying. Yeah, he says Michael Smith starts, his difference is night and day, yeah.
Yeah, as I say, when you're making a complete change, question, Michael Smith, and obviously we know there's injury problems there as well, but is the equipment right? When you've thrown something for 13 years, like he did, and then make such a change.
It's not a big change though, because I can tell you now, the secret is every manufacturer gets the same dart, like you said, changed a few grooves.
Yeah.
It's the machining that changes. Because when you look at, for example, Target, when they started doing a pixel grip, right? The pixel grip is a novelty. Because do you know what I mean? It doesn't enhance, it doesn't do anything else. But it creates a prettier looking dart.
Yeah.
Shots the same. Shot, the cut and all of that stuff is part and parcel of the story that they tell on the dart. Is that something that fits and suits Michael? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Is it that it's the dart or is it the flight? Because the biggest part of any dart is actually the flight. Because the weighting of the dart is just still the same tungsten barrel, and that's what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't necessarily think it's so much more the dart. I think it could be a slim and flight combination. The cheapest part of a dart can give you the biggest impact, like we've seen with flight.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. Greetings. Hello, Antoinette from South Africa. What's happening?
Someone asked, who got you into darts?
My dad. So my dad, George Petersen, he is the one that got me into darts, and he still plays today. He's been playing for the last 58 years. He's 71, so he still plays darts currently. Enjoys the sport. Does a lot of the coaching because he's obviously got me into the sport, and yeah. So our families, like, he played with his brothers back in the day, and the one thing that my dad always says is he's never been a great player. He's always been a good player, and when you understand what that means is that good players still get through, they just don't get through all the time, and you see that on the PDC. So I think that my upbringing has been correct on the dartboard. It's not you have to be the best to win. Just be the best on the day and see what you can do, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
So the chat room's on fire today, it's Jude. Marcus asked Dev, how's the African tour going?
So the ACTs are looking great. We have Graham Philby that you guys will know from yesteryear, play pairs with me. He's currently #1. Cameron Carolison still in chase for the #1 spot. Johan Keldenes is doing well. There's a new player on the block, Liam Nicholson. First year at the ACTs, played in the amateur on the Dart South Africa side, and he's been turning it up, getting to the quarterfinals. Still a young player, just got sponsored by Kondo as well. Kondo's making a big impact in Africa, coming on board with the four players as well, Cameron, Johan, myself and Liam. So yeah, the ACT tour, massive impact. I mean, you guys have seen Peter Oshuri. There's another talent unearthed there, which is he's from Uganda, it's Oche. So he's won 2 of the northern events. We are hosting the World Championship qualifier in Kenya again this year, along with a Continental Cup and a Kenyan Cup. And then we are also hosting the ADC qualifier in South Africa, which is it's the first time the trophy is actually going to leave Modus and go to South Africa. So, yeah, so we're doing a full tour with a trophy. It's part of something a project that I'm working with in South Africa, which you'll be able to see as well when it comes out. But yeah, I think the African tour is growing bigger. We've got more countries involved. Next year we potentially could have 10 to 12 countries involved in the ACT. So you'll have 10 to 12 countries that now have new players that nobody's heard of. We'll have stats, you'll have conversations, you'll see more, and I think content manufacturers will benefit, content creators will benefit, and I think that federations in those areas will benefit because it makes such a big impact in the sport of Africa, in the sport of darts and Africa. And it does also help with IDSL, and which is the International Darts School League, as well as Dart World Nights.
Well, here's one for you then. With all this positivity, were you disappointed not to get an extra place in those World Championships 128?
To be honest, right, I know why we can't get a spot. It's because the strength in the Asian tour and also allowing more players from, they showed a lot more that they can compete at that level. So when you're getting a spot, it shouldn't be, Africa has a spot. So that's the good part of it. Because of the size, should we get another spot? Yeah, maybe. Do we have the quality? We're showcasing that now. So next year it might be harder to deny the spot to Africa than it is now. Because obviously, so I think that in 12 months, 24 months we could see that change. I think that we could also see a World Cup spot change.
You get two, South Africa and another nation.
Yeah, and then there's a different qualifying criteria for the second one. So South Africa obviously being the one that's almost anchored in the World Cup. I think that so that we could get another African one where we have a pairs event like they're having Caribbean tournaments, like they showed Argentina.
Yeah.
It's exactly that, because you could unearth, I mean, Argentina was phenomenal. And you would have never thought that a country that is kind of famed for Maradona and Lionel Messi and football and all of that stuff. Now they're performing on the darts, and they were great people as well. So yeah, I think that a lot of times it's not about quantity, but it's about quality, because the PBC show is the global show. So you have to be in that space as well.
I like it. Like I said, and also going back to South Africa, Simon Adams is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, what a legend. Yeah. You know, so there's a story with Simon, right? So Simon's been playing the sport for 44 years. And he's always been a player that can perform. But generally, because of the system that we have in South Africa, you don't actually get an opportunity to showcase. And I think when the ADG came through and the Modus qualifiers happened and all of those things, he actually took that and ran with it. It became like the Simon Adams show, because he was front and center. But the one thing with Simon Adams that is different to a lot of players is his selflessness. He's one of those people that will go, listen, and this conversation obviously comes from somewhere. So where he said, listen, I'll partner you on the youth journey, and let's get the academy going. So Simon Adams single-handedly got 43 schools involved in the IDS in Tabeka area, which is an area in Eastern Cape. But these are coming from schools that are vulnerable communities. Wow. So gangsterism, drugs and all of that. We have now 450 players that's playing in the IDSL. And that's all because of Simon. So, you know, if you think about Simon the player, he's great, but he's even a better person.
100%.
Yeah. Top tier.
Right, folks, we're going to go for a couple more minutes because Dev has got an exhibition tonight. He's popped it on the way down.
I forgot about that. Having so much fun, yeah.
It's been. But like I said, we're going to try and make this a regular thing when people are passing or in the vicinity. Get them in. Just like I say, just chat.
In the vicinity, London, and you've got 3 hours. Come, just make a stop over, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. 3 hour journey drive down here. It's been fantastic. see what other. They've got an exhibition shirts. I do actually have in the car as well, so we could probably have a competition as part and parcel. And then it will just cost Barzy some money, but other than that, well.
I have to send that out, it's not a problem.
Yeah, we could definitely make something happen.
But yeah, it's just nice, instead of like the formal interviews, just
Chats, yeah.
It is the thing, it's just different is the thing.
100%.
Should there be a World Series meant in South Africa? Devon doesn't even have to answer that, I can. Yes, there blooming well should.
I think there's so a lot of what we're currently doing now is building towards that. For 2026, major plans involve expansion on the ACT tour, expansion on the academy tour, IDSL's taking over. We have Dartwood Mass coming through, and then there might be a little spicy something happening, which we will know in probably I'm going to say by the end of the year we should know if there's a possibility or not. But I'll go for 170. Let's see.
Would it be Cape Town or Joburg?
Cape Town all the way, yeah. Cape Town is number one, 6th place in the world. Not voted by me, because if it was, it would still be. But I think it's over 2 million people voted that Cape Town is the 6th place in the world, and that's all foreign people. So yeah, it is what it is, yeah. So we'll have it in the 6th place in the world. You'll see some of the very best players compete against Africa's very best, and you'll have a showcase that is second to none.
You'll know the cricket ground.
Yes.
It's got the mountain in the background.
Newlands.
What a picture that is.
It's magical.
So if we could have the World Series in there, outside, with that in the backdrop, would that work, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Hyde Park happen, so I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility. The only thing is Cape Town is known as the Cape of Storm, so wind could play a factor, but I think that the venues that we do have on offer, like Grand West, some international venues, like those big ones, yeah, we could literally set up something similar to Madison Square Garden or Ali Pali. Yeah, so that's really on the cards, because I feel as though there's an opportunity for a pinnacle event in South Africa which will change the landscape of the sport, because once people actually see that the big events are happening in our country, now we go from teaching Dartwood Maths in the classroom to taking it all the way to the grand stage, which is not the motors, the Super Series, the World Series, but also the World Championship. So it's part and parcel of the plan. We want to make sure that it happens, and yeah, it's the only thing that stops us is obviously the financial backing, because it costs a mountain of money, you know. I mean, I can't afford it, I know you can, but yeah, it's challenging, you know, so it becomes part and parcel of what it is, so yeah, we'll definitely have one.
No, okay, right everyone, thank you so much for joining us on our first Oche Talk. Just something a bit different. You guys have absolutely rocked it in the chat room. Remember, we have everything covered at the World Match Play. So you know what to do. You hit that like and subscribe button. All social platforms. We have you covered for the World Match Play. Dev, absolute pleasure.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sexy studio. Thanks a lot for everybody that messaged in as well, and we'll catch you at the match play.